ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first ever edition, the first ever episode of the It's Still Real to Me, Damn It podcast. My name is Travis Snell, and this is something, if you're a longtime Geekverse fan, you know I've been threatening a long time. No, I have been wanting to do a podcast about wrestling probably ever since we started doing Podcast Geekverse. It was the main show, wanted a comic show, wanted a show that was just friends talking amongst each other, which was Rant, Rave, Repeat, which will hopefully be coming back very soon. And the other one was wrestling. And wrestling was a bit of a touchy issue as far as, okay, how do I bring that in? You know, we do video games, movies, TV shows, relate everything like that. And I'd sprinkle it in here and there, and it did well, like the podcast we did, but it was this thing of, do I do it alone? Do I get a co-host? This and that. And as I've continue to do more podcasts, there is a lot of podcasts that I do alone now and separately, and I know I can do that and I can carry a show, not to sound cocky, but I know I can do it myself. I like to talk a lot, so I think I can do it. So really, it's just the timing. I have I've thought about doing these podcasts even times where I was going to actual WrestleMania and whatnot, didn't do them around then. I've been going back and forth, and I guess the reason why, and I've had some fans ask me too, and say, I'm not sure. And I think eventually I'm going to have a co-host. I have someone in mind. I'm going to have some of the Geekverse people on. I know they're going to come watch WrestleMania with me, very likely. So to get the mainstream perspective on wrestling. But I guess why the timing was now is because, and as I open up my Shinsuke hoodie, and I think I'm going to take that off because it's very hot. I'm very happy you won the Royal Nakamura, but you know what? This hoodie, very warm, and it's very warm in my household because it's cold outside. The reason is now is just because somehow I'm more passionate than I was maybe a few months ago, and that is strange to say because I was watching WWE full time, and I guess I can give my full-on origin story before we get into the show. What the show is going to be, it's going to be talking about wrestling, it's going to be talking about WWE, it's going to be talking a lot about New Japan Pro Wrestling, it's whatever I'm watching at the moment. It's going to cover shows maybe more in a topic-based sense. I'll go over matches if I thought them, but it's not going to be a, hey, this was the pay-per-view, let's break it down match by match by match. It's going to be more about news going on. It's going to be more about certain big moments, things like that. And if there's big matches and matches that are really great, then yeah, I'd love to talk about them, and we're going to talk about some of those tonight. But as far as me getting into wrestling, yes, my grandmother, she says I've been watching it since I was 6 months old, and that's because my grandfather was a huge wrestling fan. They came from Calgary. If you know anything about Bret Hart and the Harts, Calgary Stampede, that was huge. They went to a lot of those events when he moved over to where I am in Kelowna, BC. Carried that over. I just remember lots of memories of Grandpa, TV on. It's definitely not the first thing I've seen, but the one that's always the most specific is Undertaker at, I can't remember which WrestleMania. I always think it's WrestleMania 14, but it doesn't match up. But Undertaker, my all-time favorite wrestler. And then as I grew up, kept watching it. My family, my sister got involved as far as watching it together. And it's a big thing. I've been to 11 WrestleManias. I've lost count about the number of live events that I've gone to. It's up there with comic books as one of my favorite things, if not my favorite thing. Love wrestling. And it's funny because I didn't think this podcast would be happening because recently I hadn't really loved wrestling, maybe jumped to 6 months ago. I used to watch, would never miss a Raw and SmackDown. If I did, I'd be watching as quickly as I can be. And if I did, I was always mad. I'd plan my days around, same as pay-per-views, like, oh, I can't do this, can't do this. And then around SummerSlam time, which was funny enough because we did a watch-along, and it was lots of fun, like, watching with the Geekverse gang. But there was just something that I was, with WWE, I was not feeling invested anymore, and I was not really enjoying myself anymore, and it felt like a chore. And that's when you gotta bow out, because there are times where I believe you can be as critical as you can and even be negative, but there's times where it's okay if I'm being negative about everything I'm seeing, or almost everything, a good 75 to 80%, maybe it's time to bow out. And I did that to an extent. I kept watching the pay-per-views. I'd watch odd Raw and SmackDown here. They're like Raw 25 I just watched, which was a god-awful show. But, so, been a WWE fan, WWE in my blood my whole life. 6 months ago or roughly, whatever August was, stopped watching it religiously. I still have the network. I love their specials, and I'm always going to be watching old stuff. And then I got into New Japan Pro Wrestling. And recently that has really got me back into wrestling, because wrestling for me is that thing where people would say, "Hey, you're gonna grow up and you're gonna grow out of it." And I'm like, no, I love it. And for me, it was still I still want to be watching wrestling. I don't care. I'm 24 now. I don't care when I'm 44, 64. I still want to be watching wrestling. It's something that I want to be a part of. But I want to be watching good wrestling and wrestling that I am a fan of. And I wasn't finding that at WWE. I was hearing lots of good stuff from people I trust and people I know about New Japan, and I subscribe to that. And my wrestling gears have been like firing on Ultrons lately. They've been very, very happy with what I've been getting over there, which is funny because we're doing a podcast, and I had actually planned, honestly, to do this podcast and mostly make it New Japan Pro Wrestling centric. And I think I'm still going to right now, because I don't know how much I'm going to be watching Raw and SmackDown weekly, but I'm saying that after they just put on two hell of a good shows with Takeover in Philly and then the Royal Rumble, which we're going to get to a big breakdown. I'm doing my quick, maybe 2 more minutes, and then we'll get into the actual results, and there's some good stuff to talk about. So ever since I started watching New Japan, got invested in the Bullet Club, got invested in Naito, got invested in Suzuki, all these people, learning all this, studying it, very much like when I was younger, like buying old DVDs, watching wrestlers, like you hear about these feuds. Okay, what happened in these feuds? That's what I was doing with New Japan, and I've been loving it. And it's something that has made me happy with WWE for a while, at the end of shows not feeling good. And it's in such a small sense of there's so much stuff. There's, life, there's work, there's family, there's friends, there's bills to pay, there's a job to get to, there's food to put on the table. In the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal, the wrestling, but it's the thing where, okay, I would like to watch it, and I would like to feel after I watch the 3 hours relatively happy. And that's why the past few months when the pay-per-views haven't been that good, I haven't really cared, because I'm not that invested anymore. I'm just kind of watching it on the side now. But I still wanted something to fill that void. New Japan has filled that void. I love what I'm getting over there. And we're going to talk about that tremendously. I'm going to talk about that a good amount tonight, because and now we can get the I guess review of it is this weekend is a weekend that wrestling fans crave. This is whether you are a WWE fan, whether you're an NXT fan, which we'll talk about, whether you're a New Japan Pro Wrestling fan, or you're just a fan of wrestling overall. These are the weekends that make you a fan through and through. There are so many moments this weekend that got me excited to keep watching. Like I said, with Raw and SmackDown, I haven't been watching it lately. I think I'm going to start watching it. I don't know if I'm going to watch it live. I think I'm going to keep watching it taped a few times, and then if I'm really back to enjoying it, then maybe I'll make time to watch it live, because commercial breaks, 3 hours, it can be much if you're not enjoying yourself. The show left me very excited tonight, and New Japan left me very, very excited tonight. So that's kind of all my origin and whatnot. I'm going through it very quickly because I want to get to the actual show and talk about it. Maybe I'll talk about more in the future, about some past stuff with WrestleManias and experiences I've had. It's been a good time, and I thank my dad for all that. But let's talk about. I'm going to talk about the Rumble first, because it's the most freshest, obviously. And like I said, this will always. There's not going to be much structure to the show. If I have a structure of, I know what I'm going to talk about, when I'm going to talk about it, but it's not going to be like, as of right now, the next time I do this, I think I'm planning on doing this once or twice a month. That all depends on news and pay-per-views and stuff like that. But I'm not going to be like, this is the hot segment, this is this and this is that. It's just going to be very much like lots of other podcasts, an open discussion about wrestling. And I guess I say open discussion. It's me discussing with myself, but I'm very passionate about wrestling. I think you'll get to see that. I'm a big fan of it. I know the ins and outs as far as from a fan perspective. So it's something that I talk a lot about on Geekverse, or I talk very minimal on Geekverse, but I think you can see if you've been a fan for a while that you know how much of a fan I am of wrestling. I'm always incorporating fun little twerks into the Geekverse gauntlet and things like that. So it's in my blood, and I'm very, very excited to start this. I hope you enjoy this. Please let me know in the comments if you do enjoy this. If you don't, then I guess I'll never see you again. So yeah, let's talk about the Royal Rumble. And because it's most fresh right now, Royal Rumble the past few years has been quite a mess. Even when I'd say like 2016 and even last year, I don't think they were the worst as far as match quality. They weren't some of the best ones, but it was a lot of these winners that were having us left to be desired. And even in the moment, they would book it very smartly. As far as when Triple H won, there was a hype moment because Dean Ambrose and everyone was on a high. Last year, Randy Orton won, and everyone lost their minds just because he threw out Roman Reigns. Like they made it so that moment would seem big, but really the Rumble hasn't felt like the Rumble in a long time. It has not felt. It's not felt special till really the night of, and you start thinking about all these possibilities and what could happen, and then it doesn't really happen, and then it's just the same old, or there's matches that you scratch your head of like, really, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, WrestleMania, this is what you could come up with. So I'm starting with the men's Rumble, by the way. So this year went on middle show, which I had a feeling because the video package at the beginning showed all the matches, like the triple threat, the monster brawl, the 2-on-1, all that good stuff. And then it showed the women. It showed that Rumble, and it's like then more than ever Rumble. It showed the women's Rumble. So with them showing that it was going in the middle, and obviously there have been rumors about Nakamura winning. I think that didn't confirm Nakamura was winning, but there was a chance for a lower tier guy to win. And you might look at me and think I'm crazy saying that. He is, in the sense of, in their eyes, he's not the Roman Reigns, he's not the John Cena, he's not, I guess I could say a Seth Rollins, even though Seth Rollins' booking to me has been a little strange lately. Not strange, it's just I feel like they're kind of spinning wheels. They don't know what to really do with him. But the Rumble lately has been not a special event. This year, I'd really have to think about, because usually I used to go back and watch a bunch of Rumbles. I watched a few this year in preparation, but it's just because I was not feeling WWE lately. Off the top of my head, I think it has to be maybe the best one since 2012. I think, yeah. I can't remember how 2013 was as far as quality with Cena winning. I don't think it was that good, but I liked the 2012 one a lot. I liked the Chris Jericho, Sheamus back and forth that they had, and I thought it had a good pace. That's just off the top of my head. And I think with this Rumble, I don't want to, with a match, with a one-on-one match or triple threat match, I think for me it's easier. The Rumble match, it's so much harder for me to say this is for sure a top 10 Rumble. I think it's something that could be. I don't know if it's a top 5 Rumble. I'd really have to think about that. I'd have to watch them, and maybe next year when I'm more motivated, I will watch them and not, I don't know if I'll rank them, but at least get a better idea where this fits in the upper echelon of Rumble matches. But this is one of the better ones, I'd say, in this generation. And I can go that way. From the booking to the competitors to the winner. And I think that's the thing with the Rumble, is you kind of have to have a bit of all those things. Sometimes they've had good Rumble matches, but the winners stank. And sometimes they've had good winners, but the Rumble stank. And sometimes it's just been a mess all around, and it feels like it's just kind of there, the Rumble this year. It doesn't feel like there's much purpose other than, hey, we have the Rumble every year. It doesn't feel there's much motivation towards it. Nakamura winning this year is huge. Now, this is the thing where I did say it was in the middle of the show, so it's not as huge as other times. It may not seem as huge, and it may seem like, because, and that's what I thought was going to happen, because not one of our main darlings is winning it. It doesn't have to go on last. We'll put the women on last. It's more historic, this and that. I know people might say, no, it's because the women, that's a historic match. That's why it was going last. Yes, but I feel like, let's say this year, if Roman Reigns win the Rumble, I don't think it's in the middle of the show. So he wins it, and it is a big thing. Anytime you win a Rumble, it's big. The reason it's a huge win is how it was booked. You had, who I was so close, I was so mad. I had Nakamura and Finn Balor as my final two choices. I thought that was going to be a way to send the message of, hey, no matter what happens, you're getting a great winner this year. It's two new young people. And plus, I thought both of them could verse AJ Styles. You can have Naka and AJ, or you could have Finn versus AJ again, because everyone loved that match. So I just had a feeling with it. They put Finn at number 2. He had a great coast-to-coast showing. Any longer, he almost could eclipse Ray for a while, because I think Ray's he was in the match an hour and 6 back in 2006. So he got to, I think, 54 minutes, something like that. So pretty impressive. And it's his first Rumble, right? It has to be. I think because he was injured and he was there. Yeah, really good showing for him. I think I don't know if he continues to silence doubters, because a lot of people do just go, what is the demon, this and that. And I can agree, that's another conversation. But I think he shows, as far as it goes in ring, he can deliver the goods. So I was very close with that. The final 4, I guess final 6 is fun to talk about. It was, and I guess we can start from there and work backwards, and then we'll talk a bit more about the match. You had Randy, Cena, and Rey Mysterio. Who Rey Mysterio came back tonight. I popped. I was very excited. And holy shit, is he in good shape? Because when he left WWE, he was a bit bigger, a little hefty, and it was weird because he's a high flyer and he's wearing those weird like question mark Riddler suit, and it just didn't look good. And it just felt like Ray wasn't. It didn't feel like Ray like cared too much anymore. It felt like it was just he was doing the rest of his contract. Came back tonight, Big Pop, very exciting. Which is funny, Big Pop, because a few years ago got booed out of the building when he was 30th entrant, looking like he's from the goddamn 90s. That guy has a time machine. But it starts off great as far as this is why I think the win is still huge for Nakamura. If he would have just went over Finn, I think that still would have been big for him, and I would have been more happy, I guess, because it's my prediction. But really, I'm more happy with what happened because I felt like they made him a bigger star tonight. Nakamura has been floundering, and I still keep my eyes on the product. He has been floundering all over WWE since he got there. He had that moment where he came to the main roster, he beat Cena, he got the number one contendership to Jinder, and he lost to Jinder, just like everyone else. It was a nothing match. The matches weren't that good, and then he just floated for a while. In tag team matches, he's versus Randy randomly. They had nothing for him. They had no plans, and he's not getting a chance to showcase how good he is, because I had watched some of his Japan stuff, and even I was there the first night he debuted against Sami Zayn. That was my match of the year. That was a star-making performance right there. It was like, you want to see Nakamura versus everybody. He had lost that effect probably around SummerSlam time, the time I stopped watching. So he had Cena, Orton, Ray, the whole old guard. The guys have been around since the 2000s, right? So the old guard versus the new guard. You had Roman Reigns, the big dog. You had Roman Reigns. You had Finn Balor, and you had Shinsuke Nakamura. One, to me, that solidifies that they view Nakamura and Finn Balor on that level as, this is the old guard, this is the new guard. And you know what? You could make an argument for, okay, maybe because Dean's not there, he could have been in there. Or maybe next year it won't even matter because we've seen Bray Wyatt look like he's part of the new guard and it's gone. But at this moment, they look at those three guys and they see money with them. As far as the newer guys, I think they do with AJ Styles as well. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, that's another conversation. They go back and forth. I think Seth needs to probably go back to heel eventually to get back up on the upper echelon, because I think it's a lot to do with booking too. As a babyface, it hasn't worked the greatest, but I think a lot of that does have to do with booking. But anyway, so just to be with that category is great. Gets down to the final four of Cena, Roman, Nakamura, and Finn, which I have to say is like, then it led to Cena dumping Finn out. They earlier had Roman dump Seth out. They really didn't care. Sometimes they try to make it like, oh, hey, and Cena got a Hurricane. I can't remember if Finn got out someone too. Well, like, I'll have to look and see, but Finn got someone out. I don't know. Was it Adam Cole? Oh, I can't remember. Either way, or no, it was Dolph Ziggler too. Like, people were eliminating people that usually you might get booed by, right? And sometimes I try to book that as far as a couple of years ago, that awful Rumble where Kane and Big Show started eliminating people. That's when they got out Dean Ambrose and they got out Dolph Ziggler. Like, they give it to, okay, let's try and get heat on somebody. But this year, everybody was just eliminating everybody. So yeah, people were booing, but they're booing some of their favorite people. It was a weird mix, but I liked it. And the whole Rumble overall, before I end that, I really enjoyed it. As far as the beginning was completely different. They had these weird, not weird, but at the time it felt weird, segments, but they just worked of, okay, you had Rusev Day, which good for Rusev, and then you had who's number 2? Finn Balor, and then it went regular, and then Baron Corbin came out, gets eliminated right away, and then he goes by and he's wrecking shop and everything like that. He takes the people out after he's eliminated. He takes out Heath Slater. They have this running gag of Heath Slater keeps getting knocked down by all the people as they come down, and then Elias comes down and he's singing, and then, because I got the list right here, who came? Oh right, Almost came out, and the NXT champion interrupted him, and there was this great of, it felt, and then Ty Dillinger got beat up and Sammy took a spot. For the first 14, I'm saying that because Nakamura, it felt like anything could happen. I think the middle was a slog. There was just a lot of guys coming out and beating up people, but it wasn't even the classic, which I like, is they come out in the Rumble at their spot and they do a bunch of their finishes, this and that. Like, it felt like they do a couple of their finishers, or they just start beating up one guy, and it felt a little weird. Like, usually you have the new hot guy comes in fresh, and everyone feeds for him and makes him look good. It felt like that was kind of missing this year in the middle. But then the end, and back to the Nakamura thing, we had these surprise entrances, which are always fun. I love them, and I think some of them were good. I think a little I was disappointed. You had like Hurricane coming, you had Adam Cole, and then you had Dolph Ziggler. Goldust we'll have to talk about in a second. That was a little weird, but so you had some still surprises going on, and then you had it's very similar to the way a decade ago now, Jesus, Shawn and Undertaker had that final two man like mini match in the middle of the Rumble, right? And then a few years ago, Jericho and Sheamus did the same thing. They did that, but almost in like a fatal four-way sense with Finn, Nakamura, Roman, and Cena. And I think they've done that. I remember a few years ago, I thought they did that with like Batista, Cena, Edge, and somebody else. But this was an extended time. Like that was not. That back then was maybe like, oh, down the final four, quick, someone's eliminated. This felt like an extended like fatal four-way match, and then when someone else, it was an extended triple threat match, and then when they went out and it was Cena that went out next, it was an extended one-on-one match between Nakamura and Roman, and and that's why I will have to watch again. I think it's honestly in my top 10, and I don't know if I'll have to watch back and see if it's in the top 5, but the beginning I love, the ending I love, the middle I'll have to rewatch and see if it was as sloggy as I thought, but the ending I love because I like both those extended finishes for those previous Rumbles. I like because it makes it builds the intensity the whole time. You're thinking, oh man, can he get him over? Can he get him over? We're so close. Like it just builds it up, and it was done really well. And that's where I have to say that even though it was in the middle of the show, this was still a big win for him because you will go back and look at Nakamura, and hopefully he has a long career. He goes into the Hall of Fame. He becomes one of the staples. But even then, if not, it doesn't matter because they believe that or they want that for him because when you go back and watch the Royal Rumble, yeah, there could have been some people that were thrown out here and there. It could have been down to him, Finn, and it would have been a big win for him. Him not only outlasting Roman and Cena, him eliminating them, that puts him up to the fucking megastar level. And he felt like a star. And he felt like it was different because you don't have that same psychology as one-on-one match, but he felt like the Sami Zayn, like, semi-killer. He felt intense. That moment, like, he always does the come on, but the moment with Roman, like, you could feel the crowd building, the crowd chanting Nakamura. The crowd wanted Nakamura to win the whole time, and that's the other thing, too. So many times the past few years, you could know who should win the Royal Rumble, who's the momentum, and that just doesn't happen. You felt Nakamura the second he came in. He had the momentum. At one point when obviously they're gonna boo Cena Roman and then they're chanting Nakamura, I was expecting they're gonna do it was the face off. They're gonna do dual chants of Nakamura, Finn Balor, or something. Let's go Balor, or something like that. No, they just chanted Nakamura. Philly won Nakamura, and people love Nakamura, which is great. But I felt like if he didn't get a big something, and I don't think it even had to be as big as a Rumble, but if he didn't get a big something, a big match, something to rejuvenate him, that was going to start to go away. This is phenomenal. Not only is he going to go to Mania and get the title shot, he eliminated Cena himself and he eliminated Roman. There was no shenanigans. Nobody came out from the back and pulled Cena over. No one pulled Cena's leg. There wasn't a double elimination. He got them both out with his knees. He got them both out single-handedly. He looks like a megastar. It looks like that thing of, hey, these are our top guys, and this guy just eliminated them by himself. It was, like I said, there was no shenanigans. He did it, and like I said, it was something about it. Maybe when you get told, hey, you're gonna win the Royal Rumble, you go, hey, I'm turning it on tonight. But I think it's just because he got the platform to do it. He got the platform to be a star, to be the main guy. And yeah, I think it fucking sucks. He's not gonna actual main event WrestleMania because we know that's gonna go to Roman and Brock. They gotta have their mainstream thing. But at the same time, they have the opportunity to be the Michaels angle. I'm going to say Michaels all the time. The Michaels Jericho, the Michaels Undertaker. He really was Mr. WrestleMania. They have the chance to steal the show, to be the match that everyone's talking about at the end of the night, to be, kind of almost like last year. You can contest what the best match was last year, but kind of like Shane and AJ, they kind of stole the show, even though I think like Seth Rollins and Triple H was a great match and maybe one of the best matches on that card as well, and maybe better in quality. You can be the one that, hey, at the end of the day, the main event, and that happens a lot with WrestleMania. Look at, like, we'll talk about it closer. There's a lot of main events that are very much duds, and they're not really talked about that much, and then it's like, yeah, but 3 matches down the line, Rock and Hogan, Taker, Michaels. This could be that. Nakamura and AJ could easily be that. They could easily steal the show, especially with Roman and Brock, which we'll talk about more in depth later. I forgot the word in depth. That shows I need some water. But we know what we're getting with that. We know that we're getting the, hey, Roman's finally the guy to fully destroy Brock Lesnar. 10,000 Superman punches, 10,000 spears. What will it take to keep Brock Lesnar down? Oh my God, Roman Reigns finally did it. He conquered the guy who conquered the street. Oh my God, how amazing is that? We know what we're getting there. That, and especially with the fan vitriol towards Roman Reigns already. And I think Brock Lesnar, he's still surprised he has a lot of fans for how much backlash he gets online. When he gets in the arena, everyone shuts the fuck up. I'm like, that's Suplex City, but online they're like, oh, it's an old tire act. It's not showing in these hardcore crowds for the most part. We know we're getting there. So with the fan disappointment, with it being a rematch again, even though their match at WrestleMania 31, which I was there for, was outstanding. They really over-delivered, I think. I think that between the fan reaction and the match being very predictable, that sets it up for being very, very forgettable, and AJ Nakamura be the one everyone's talking about for the year, talking about match of the year, this and that. It all depends on the time they get. I'm interested to see what the story is they're going to tell, because he announced, hey, I'm versing AJ, I'm going after AJ. They still have one more pay-per-view in between. They got 2 months, because in the past few years, they've done the whole, oh, hey, what, like, person wins the Rumble, and then there's one more pay-per-view, and someone's trying to get another title shot, or the title's on the line, something like that. Like, you never know right away what the match is going to be. They could, I think at Fastlane, they'll probably do something maybe if, like, oh, if AJ really wants that match with Nakamura, he has to beat so-and-so. I kind of hope they don't do that. I hope they find a way to tell an interesting story about why we should care about Nakamura and AJ, other than we love them. And that might just be it, you know? And it also is, I hope they tell a different story of, hey, these guys had a great match in Japan. They were stars in Japan. That's cool. Use that as a building block, but also make your own story. But I do like, and we'll talk about the women's in a second, that, you know what? They're obsessed with doing this fucking Roman Brock thing. Okay, you want to crown Roman for the goddamn 8th time. And I'd like Roman as far as in-ring skill. I think he could be an even bigger star if WWE let him and didn't have, like, the reins on him. I just think they kind of trip over themselves with him many times. And I don't blame him, because if someone says, hey, you want to be the top guy of WWE? Yeah, it's $1 billion huge corporation. You want to be the poster boy. So can't get mad at that. But what I like is it seems that we have WrestleMania is very mainstream, and it feels like the past few years, and that's one of the years I'm not going this year. I'm very busy as well. I have a daughter as well. That has a lot to do with it. But last year I knew going in, like, this is going to be last year, because past 2 years, honestly, even last year when I end up liking the show, going into it, I'm like, am I wasting my money because I'm not that excited to go? I'm excited to meet the fans. I was excited. Thank God NXT was around, and that was the same grace, and the Raw after. But the past few years, it's like, I'm not excited to go. Like, I'm really disappointed, and I don't want to feel like I wasted my money. And some years, luckily, it was good and I didn't, and some years I felt like, yeah, I did waste my money. And it was a point where this year it's like, I'm not going to plan around it. Maybe, and there's a few years of, hey, they've hit hot streaks, I want to go back. I will. I'm very disappointed I'm not going to see an AJ versus Nakamura live match, and if they do Cena and Taker, I'll be very disappointed, even though, please, Taker, don't come back. Like, stay retired. It's perfect. But I felt like the past few years, anything other people do with the part-timers coming in, that it is just mostly for the mainstream WrestleMania, and then after they get back to the hardcore fans, like, oh, we love you, it's all about us, the fans, but then, you know, WrestleMania rolls around again, like, no, it's about the people that watch twice a year. This card is looking like it's going to be a half and half. I don't know if it's going to 100% be a half and half, but if you look at the title matches right now, that will probably happen. Brock and Roman, that's fully mainstream. Brock Lesnar and then Roman Reigns a poster boy. Fine. But then you have the other title matches purely for the hardcore audience between AJ and Nakamura. With the women's, which, like I said, I'll transfer over into a second, it looks like with Ronda Rousey coming in, which is huge. It was rumored. They did the Jericho where, oh, I'm filming, I'm not there. I called it, like, not on this cast because I was not recording. But if I would have been here, I would have called it. I think I'm not alone in that, but other people with me, I was like, someone was like, oh, look, I saw an article, like, rumor killer on Ronda Rousey being the Rumble. It's like, okay, just because her hairdresser tweeted up, like, oh, yeah, she's here in Colombia or wherever she's filming, that means shit all. They could have had some fun with it. So, with the women, you have Ronda Rousey versus a champion, which is completely mainstream. And then you have Asuka, who the fans love, and they should because she's fucking amazing, versus whoever the champion is. four matches already, and you can see two that I think appeal more to people that watch once or twice a year, and two that will appear to the hardcore fans. So I think that's a good thing to do, and I think it's on the right path, and I'm very excited. I'm interested to see how they play the AJ and Nakamura storyline. I'm interested to see, are they going to keep it babyface? Is somebody going to get a bit more heely? I hope they just do full-on babyface. Let's see who's better. Maybe get a little tension down the line of some pushing, some shoving, some fighting, but don't make it that AJ all of a sudden is hating the fans, this and that. They could do that because AJ is good at being like a smarmy heel, but we'll see. As far as the rest of the Rumble, I guess we can quickly go down some of these. Yeah, Goldust coming out. That was quite strange at 29. I don't know why. Same thing with Titus at 25. I guess they need people just to throw out. I guess, and that's no disrespect to Goldust. It just was odd at 29. In those numbers, you're starting to expect somebody, but I guess he is a legend, so fair enough. Dolph Ziggler, which is funny. A few weeks ago, there was rumors that he could maybe win the Rumble. And now lately I paid more attention to rumors because when I'm watching the product, I try to stay away. I want to be surprised. But when I'm not, I'm like, I don't care. Sure, I'll click on this link. What are the betting odds for Dolph Ziggler? And I think they were high at some point. And they kind of set that up, almost like someone put those odds out there just to troll. But the thing was, so he did this thing where he won the U.S. title, and then he just left it on the ring, and he never came back. And he was gone for like 2 months. And then he's the 37th entrant. He's the last time. Or he's the last guy in. And you feel like, I felt like he actually was going to win it, to be honest. With those rumors and with the way they're booking it, I felt, oh, he is going to win it. And when he comes in, he has such little impact. Drops a couple super kicks, he gets thrown over, Finn knocks him out. What's going on there? And it's just classic Dolph Ziggler. I did feel like because his contract's coming up, I felt, you know what, they'll let him win this Rumble. It's a smaller Rumble again because it's in the middle of the show. They obviously are putting more impact on the Women's Royal Rumble. And this is a perfect time for Dolph to win it. And you know what? Dolph versus AJ at WrestleMania, that's fine with me. That'd be a great match, I think. And Dolph, to me, it made sense of, hey, lately he was on the Edge and Christian podcast saying, hey, I want better opportunities. I feel I deserve them. Him winning the Rumble, which is a huge milestone, and then getting his first ever one-on-one match at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship, that's when you could do that and say, hey, you shouldn't be complaining. You should re-sign a contract because we just gave you a shitload of stuff. And it would be. But apparently they don't want to do that. And I think apparently they're fine with him going. Because I think he will go. I think he should go whether he wants to pursue his stand-up or come to Japan. Let's see what you can do there. It could be interesting. I don't know. I was a huge fan of Dolph Ziggler. I still am. I haven't been a fan lately and I haven't watched that much. But previously I didn't really like the new gimmick of the whole kind of rock and roll Ziggler. I didn't like his babyface run for a while. And lots of that is definitely to do with the booking. Didn't like the heel stuff either. I thought he had a lot more potential, and when he just started doing these entrances, like stealing from other people, like, okay, like they really don't have anything for you. So that was weird. I don't think Dolph Ziggler will be with the company much longer. Starting at 1, Rusev. Good thing Rusev has Rusev Day over because that's all I got really going for him. But good thing he got it over himself. Baron Corbin. Very strange. It feels like this match is the definition of his career. That 1 minute they love him and he's going to be the next fucking megastar of WWE. And then the next minute they're like, nah, let's get rid of him or let's just make him a jobber. Because he literally comes in this Rumble. He's there for a little bit. He gets out, I think maybe he got a Rhino. Yeah, he got out Rhino. I'm pretty sure he's the one that got it. And then he was in there for like a minute and then he gets tossed over. And then he does this thing where, okay, he takes everyone out of the ring. He's eliminated, so it doesn't matter. But he takes them out of the ring, and he's beating them. He's laid them all out, everything like that. It sets up Heath coming down. He clotheslines Heath, and then Elias comes down. So literally they went from, okay, he's going to get eliminated in under 2 minutes. But then after he gets eliminated, we're going to make him look like a fucking beast. Okay, sure, he clotheslines a couple people. He does his finishers. No one's going to remember him. They're going to remember, hey, he got eliminated like 2 minutes into the match. That's it. I don't know what they're doing there. I think he's always going to stay at this like level of just floundering. I don't know, which is fine. I'm not a huge Baron Corbin fan, but just something weird to point out. Cien Almost, who I'm going to talk about later in NXT, he had a surprise entrant. He did great in the match. I think he's going to do really well because he's somebody that has really turned around for me. I was not a fan of his babyface character in NXT. He was just very, very bland. And I think with the Gargano match everyone's talking about, and I'll talk about a little bit more. I don't have too much to say, actually, because lots of people love that match. I really, really enjoyed it. And I could even easily say right now it's probably the best match WWE wise of the year. I just don't think it was a 5-star thing, and maybe that's some personal preference. But he's not getting enough credit. Everyone's talking about Gargano. He was another part of that. It's people are sometimes just forgetting about like to mention him. They're just like that Gargano match. It's like almost had a lot to do with that, and he is so fucking smooth. So it was good spotlight for him. Ty Dillinger. What the fuck are they doing with Ty Dillinger? And this is where a few spots that I liked. Heath Slater was on the ramp after he got clothesline. Everybody that would come down would kick him and keep him down. So it was this running joke. Sheamus does it. He gets him. He throws him in, and then he eliminates Sheamus, and then he gets eliminated. Skits like that, like sketches like that, like those comedic moments, or just something that felt different, really, really worked. Jinder came in for a quick second, even though it was very strange. Jinder eliminated the entire New Day by himself, I think. I can't remember with Kofi. Let me look. Okay, no. So he did. Okay, he got up Big E and Xavier, and he hinted at Kofi. But still, it was a weird thing. So I don't know if they were planning on building to a Jinder and the Bollywood Boys versus New Day. Obviously, one of them hurt. I don't know. Just felt very, very odd that Jinder himself was just getting the New Day out. Seth Rollins, to me, like I said, it has a lot to do with his booking, but I feel like he didn't have much of an impact in this Rumble, considering it's his first Rumble being a solo guy, not with the Shield. I felt like he did very well, but he did not shine like a lot of the other people did, and I was very surprised. I thought he was going to make a lot more of the opportunity. Obviously, it comes down to booking. I love the moment where Roman threw him out and they had this chuckle, but yeah, I thought he should have had a much bigger impact. I think that moment worked. The Roman tossing him, but at the same time, he easily could have been in the final 4 or final whatever. It was strange. I don't know. I felt maybe on a rewatch it'll feel differently, but I felt he really took a back seat. Hurricane, that was fun. I wish they would let him chokeslam one guy, but it was a good time. He comes in, attacks some people. Wish he would have dyed the hair green, but so be it. Adam Cole, very excited. I heard the music. Adam Cole, baby. I was excited. Didn't do much. And I thought he was going to get... I even thought there was a chance he might come up and be on the main roster because he lost last night at NXT. Or the night before at the time this recording, or the time this was posted. But I thought, okay, maybe he lost there and this is the plan. They're just going to bring him up immediately. They like the guy. It just felt... And I'm happy for him. I just felt like he didn't have much... It's not a... I thought almost had a better performance than he did. I thought there's more you're going to remember from him. Even just smaller moments where with him, he came in, punched a couple dice. Him and Sion fought like a lot, which I was like, stop fighting the NXT guy. Like, fight the other people. Then him and Balor really wanted to fight. They were just fighting in the corner. They could have played that up of like, hey, they both formerly in the Bullet Club. Yeah, they're not, WWE's not going to say that, but the fans would know if they would have had a simple stare at them. People would have been like, oh shit, Bullet Club, like, fighting everything like that. They get that with AJ and Finn. So I felt like, I don't know whether it was him in the spots he chose or whatever they gave him. It just felt like, hey, maybe we need another extra guy. So Adam Cole, we really like you. Get up there. I'm happy he was in there, but I thought he was going to have at least a moment, at least some big elimination. And I don't think he even got one. Like, I thought he would get somebody out, but maybe it's just because they didn't have plans for him. But it felt, if you didn't have plans for him, even to give him some big moment, some standout moment, like that year, like Bo Dallas got Wade Barrett or something like that, like just something. I don't know why he needed to be there, so it felt very forgettable, which sucks. Yeah, that's about it. I love the Miztourage stuff with them helping him out and everything like that. But Rumble overall, pretty good. I think it's gonna be remembered as one of the better ones, and having a good winner helps. Okay, now let's get to the Women's Royal Rumble, won by Asuka, who I have to say, I think some people have been like, oh, since the main roster, and I haven't watched much of it, she hasn't felt that same. She's probably in a lot of fucking 6-man and tag team matches and a lot of squash matches. I've seen like it's very minimal. Asuka is one of the best things going in WWE. She is one of, if not the most fleshed out character, and she barely has to speak. Her movements, the way she taunts people, like in this match, this is a star-making performance as well. People go back and watch it. When she does Sasha's pose, when she sees Ember Moon's cast, she's like, oh, your arm, like, and she's mocking her, like, oh, your arm. And when Ronda Rousey extended her, and when she won, it was fantastic, but when she extended her hand, it's Ronda fucking Rousey, this beast who is a UFC champion, Asuka just, and slaps it away. God damn. She knows her character. She gets it. She knows 100% what she's going for. And yeah, like I said, it's just a small pocket. I see some people say, like, oh, she hasn't had that big impact. She's about to. She's a fucking queen right now. She's my favorite female wrestler. So maybe that's why I'm just so passionate about. But that proves, and to me, I had heard some of that stuff from a smaller pocket of people. And maybe some like personalities that I listened to as far as the wrestling world. I went, okay, coming in this Rumble, she was my pick for a while, and then when I watched Raw 25 and her dominate people, I was like, oh, I don't think so. I think they'll give it to Nia. And then when it was at the end of it, when they booked it to be the main event, I'm like, oh, Asuka has this. So I went back and forth all the time. But I was like, okay, I haven't been watching the product in a while, so maybe, not that she's lost a step, but maybe intensity's down, maybe she's not that same character. She is that character. She's a fucking living cartoon in a good way. She feels like a comic book character. She feels so alive and so fresh, and she doesn't feel like she's putting it on. That's my problem sometimes, that I kind of fell in love with Dean Ambrose for a little bit. Sometimes he just got too wacky and too over the top, and it didn't feel real sometimes. Asuka feels 100% real, and she deserves this win. I'm so happy for her. I'm not sure who she's going to go against, which we'll talk about. I think what I really liked about this Rumble is a big nostalgia trip. If you don't like that, and if you don't like a lot of surprise entrances that are legends, then this Rumble's not for you. But I think this Rumble, it was warranted because you had a lot of people. Like, I'm going to read off the people that were returning people. Lita, Tori Wilson, Liv Morgan, Molly Holly, Michelle McCool, Vicky Guerrero, Kelly, Jacqueline, Beth Phoenix, and then Trish Stratus. So nine people. Nine. I guess there's no one I'm missing here. So 9 people, 10, almost a third of the Rumble was legends. And I can see why some people might go, oh, like I just want, new girls and I want the fresh talent today. One, there's a lot less of them on the roster, so it makes sense. By the time next year, I think this will be completely fine. But the other thing for me is, we've had so many years, There's never been a women's rumble. These were great, talented people. These were people that paved the way for these women. These are people that gave us great matches and great moments that didn't get to be in this rumble. They didn't get to have that stage. Not only did they get to be in the rumble, they got to main event the rumble. No one can ever tell me that, oh yeah, just because, their nostalgia returning, it sucked. Fuck off. This was perfect. It was exactly what you wanted the Rumble to be. I thought the Rumble was paced very, very well. I think there were some slow, awkward moments because I think no one's done it before, right? It's like people can say that, oh yeah, they've been watching it for years. It's a lot different when you're in there, and you can look at the guys who've been roaming the scene and doing it for a few years. They got it down. They've been a part of that machine. The women have never done that. Battle Royals are much, much different. They're just this hosh-posh of people. Royal Rumbles, they're this huge puzzle. And they can go bad very easily. I don't think it ever went bad. I think there was times where it was just kind of all right, just lots of pushing and shoving, lots of punching, lots of that. Like nothing was standing out. But I think that happened in the men's one as well. I think they kept it by women got eliminated pretty quickly, and then entrances were coming in and people getting eliminated. So they went more for a smaller package of people in the ring, which I think made sense. It was weird. There was a lot. I don't know if it was intentional. There was a lot of women rolling out under the rope and sitting out for a while and then coming back in. Specifically, Sasha. I didn't understand it. If it was a booking thing, then okay, nothing on the girls. And if it was a booking thing, why? Like why? It felt like sometimes they want to have these two girls have these solo moments like to face off. So everyone roll the ring and give them a moment. Just have them lay down in the ring. Like it's fine. I don't know what it was. Which also I gotta mention, there was tons of times the camera work fucking sucked at the Rumble. One time Biggie was trying to pull pancakes out of his trousers or whatever, his singlet, and they cut away right when he reached down, and then they cut back really quick. And John Cena was on the camera, and they cut away really quick. And I can't remember, there's almost like, there's another big, like, comedic moment. Something was happening. I was like, oh, and then, Heath Slater, he got attacked by, shit, I can't remember. I closed the list. But he got attacked by someone, and they cut away, like, you could see them about to attack him, and they cut away, and then they cut back, and it's like, oh, he was down, he got attacked. I don't know what was going on, but they missed a lot of good stuff. But they were rolling on the ring. But the match overall, I think, was really good, especially it's the first one. Like I said, a lot of people have never done this. No one's done this as far as the women other than Beth Phoenix. But I loved that all these women who have done so great for the business and done big things and were around when it wasn't as glamorous as it is now and getting the opportunity that the girls are now, they deserve to be in this Rumble. So for anyone, if anyone complains about just being a bunch of legends, they earned it. They never got to do this. They, especially like I said, on this big stage, they deserve it. Yeah, it was. I don't, and that's the other thing. I don't think there was anything too memorable. I'll have to watch it again because now having two Rumbles in the mind, things can be a little mixed. Naomi did like a Kofi Kingston type of like entrance. Okay, they didn't really do anything with Absolution v Riot Squad, which I was surprised about. I don't know if that has to do with Paige being hurt, but I thought there'd be some sort of face off, but didn't really. Uh, and that's the thing. I think when I look at this, the person who had like a star making performance other than Asuka, I think was Sasha. I think she needed it. Obviously, she was like the Iron Woman. She went almost coast to coast. She started at one. This was clearly the heel turn for Sasha. You saw her slowly creep back into her old ways, creep into, she was obsessed with winning. Like, it was like, of course, like, it felt like she started the match as like, I'm Sasha, you know, the fan favorite. I love the Rumble. I'm just happy we're doing this, and I want to be the first one to win the Rumble one. The first women to win the Royal Rumble. As the match kept going on, it felt like I need to win the Rumble. And when she turned on Bayley, which is setting that up, I hope for a one-on-one match at WrestleMania, not the pre-show, on WrestleMania. And then Sasha was acting super heely with the bells, bossing them around, got out Trish and said, like, that's why I'm the boss. Like, she was going full on heel. And I think tomorrow on Raw, she'll apologize and play it down for a bit and then go back to being fully heel and turn the corner. But this was used as a way to shoot off that. I think that she will 100% be a heel by WrestleMania time, you'd have to imagine. Mickie James and Trish Stratus having a stare down was fantastic. Trish was doing great. There was part of me that thought Trish was going to win, and I wouldn't have minded just because it's Trish Stratus. I know that's a part-timer thing. People have been mad. I get that, and I'm hypocritical as that happens. But just because Trish Stratus, she can still go, and she would have... I am overall happy if I had to pick that Asuka won, but I wouldn't have been mad if Trish won because Trish versus Bliss, Trish versus Charlotte, those are great possibilities. So Asuka wins. They do this celebration. They immediately get Charlotte and Bliss there. They have her holding the titles. They're looking, and then Ronda Rousey comes out, like I said, which was rumored. It was an oh shit moment because the music hit and the crowd popped, and that was good. And I think it was better because at first I was like, why didn't you have her in the match? I think if you have her in the match, she has to win, and I think if she would have won, the crowd would not have been happy if the person that wins the first ever females Royal Rumble was a person that just started there the first night and it's not a wrestler, you know? So I think they actually made the right call. At first I questioned it, but they made the right call. With the actual match, I'm not sure which way they're going to go. If I had an idea, I think they would go... They could really go anyway with both of them are good scenarios, whether it's Rousey v Bliss and then Charlotte v Asuka, or Asuka v Bliss and Charlotte v Rousey. I think, and before I get to that, I think the segment was all right. We were expecting her to do something. I think so. She goes and extends her hand. Asuka slaps it away. She points. They obviously told her to point because she kept pointing so much time, and she didn't even point right. She would always like stand and then point. And then she went over and shook Steph's hand, and there was like, oh, should I shake hands? And they shook hands because obviously they've had some interaction before, and it didn't go well because Ronda beat her up. So it was not the greatest. I was expecting her to hit somebody, which is fine. She didn't, but maybe she should have for a pop. Like maybe Bliss should have gotten her face and been like, hey, you don't belong here, blah, blah. And then just hit her and left. Something. It felt very awkward other than, okay, you got the big pop. You got, oh, Ronda Rousey's here. And then it was just going on for a while. Ronda was like smiling and whatnot, and I don't know if that's going to be her character. It did feel like she was kind of fangirling a little bit, which is fine, and I think it kind of worked because sometimes she would come off very cocky when she was smiling, and I think she said something like, oh, I'll see you there. And I'm fine with that if she is going to play up cocky, but they do got to play up the badass element a little, and they didn't really do that. She should come in and feel very scary, and then if she wants to be cocky, she can be that way after. Didn't feel like that. Felt like she's just like, fuck, I'm here at the Royal Rumble. I'm going to be at WrestleMania. It's going to be great. So hopefully they can turn around. Maybe team her with Paul. I don't know. So with her, it was a weird kind of moment. But with the matches, I could see them going either way. Because Asuka v Bliss, that makes sense. They've already been feuding on Raw. And then I think it's an easy win for Asuka. Beats Bliss, no problem. And then Charlotte v Rousey, that's something they've been teasing, joking with each other on Twitter, taking shots at each other. I think in a joking way of, they're I think friendly. And that's huge on a poster. Ric Flair's daughter versus this huge person that's coming from UFC. The other way is you can flip it of you got Charlotte v Asuka. That's a wrestling community's I don't know. I won't say dream match because they're both new competitors, but it's something everyone would look very forward to. That's something I want to see, and then I'd rather them do Rousey and Bliss because Bliss is so tiny. You could easily have Rousey throw around. If Rousey or if Bliss gets her ass kicked, it's not gonna hurt her because she's a whiny bitch heel. She's a cheater. She's a bad guy. It doesn't hurt her. Charlotte getting beat down, Asuka getting beat down could hurt them. So I think that's what they're gonna go, and I hope they go. And also they probably go with Bliss because it's on Raw, and they want Rousey on Raw. So we'll see. I think Asuka and Charlotte's something you could build to with her and have her just plow through some people at first. So overall, good match. I'm excited about that. I'll talk about the rest of the card in a bit. Let's talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling. A new beginning, and hot damn, it was a new beginning. I'm going to talk about the two main things. So I guess kind of what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the New Japan Pro beginning. I'm going to talk about NXT, and then the rest is just going to be stuff quickly, like bullet points to talk about, because I don't have much to say about the Raw tag titles or really the Raw triple threat. So new beginning, I guess they're like kind of big pay-per-view or big events since the Tokyo Dome Wrestle Kingdom. The name New Beginning, I know they've called that for many years, but that really sums up what is happening in New Japan, and it does feel like an entirely new product, and it felt like before this weekend we start at one place, and after this weekend we're at a whole different ball game, and we've got so many possibilities. We're going to start with the Bullet Club stuff because I want to talk about the Bullet Club stuff so much. I've only been watching for 6-7 months or whatnot. I've been very invested because I've gone back and watched some stuff. I follow all these guys on social media. I've been catching up on Being the Elite, everything like that. I was very invested in the Bullet Club. Lots of people are, and yeah, they're a cool organization, and they're a bunch of talented dudes. So you get invested very easily. The storylines are really well crafted right now. So for a while they've been hinting at this Bullet Club fighting. Obviously you could see tensions with Cody and Omega building at New Year's Dash when they did the whole Cody was going to hit Coda, Kenny's former friend, with a chair, and then Kenny came out and stopped him. I literally jumped out of my chair. I couldn't believe that. Did all my research on the Golden Lovers. And I was a big fan of Coda. I'd seen some of his work before, but he really converted me in the Cruiserweight Classic. So obviously that was building, and then so he was versing Jay White, and Jay White to me is a guy who feels almost like a Jeff Hardy in a way where he has an it factor. Ring wise, I got to actually watch the Omega Jay White match again because I stayed up till like 2 a.m. to watch it. The whole night I was fine, and then during that match is the first time I started to feel tired. I stayed awake for all of it. I think there was legitimately a 30-second period where I fell asleep and then I woke back up, but I did stay awake for all of it. But I have to watch it again because Wrestle Kingdom, I watched it live, and then the next day I watched it again because I'm watching this stuff at 1 or 2 a.m. It doesn't feel like I'm not usually in my right mindset. So I am going to watch it again because my only complaint is he feels still a little stiff. He feels still a little new, and even though he went on excursion and he's been wrestling for a while, and I haven't seen a lot of his work previously. I've only seen his work in New Japan. So from what I've seen is he's very, very talented. He's very good. Just seemed a little stiff, but I want to watch the Omega match over again with a clear mind because I like this match the most out of what he's done so far. I thought, like most people, this was clearly just going to be, hey, this is a good match, good situation for Kenny Omega. This is just going to build on his title reign. He's going to keep chugging along as the U.S. champion and then go on to whatever the next bigger title match is. Like, he just versus Jericho. This is clearly a cool down match. They just did the classic, oh, you want to join the Bullet Club? He hit him with the Blade Runner. He left him in a, knocked out. And it just felt like a classic, hey, we need a quick feud. Let's set this up. I was tired when I was watching it. When he hit him with the second Blade Runner and pinned him, and when he hit him with the second Blade Runner, because in Japan, for the most part, they really protect finishes unless it's like a big main event like Wrestle Kingdom. Like, some people will complain about that, like, oh, they just hit a bunch of finishers. That's not the case all the time. When you're watching this regularly, like, I still don't think anyone's actually kicked out of the One Wing Angel, Omega's finishing move. So they do protect the moves. So when he had a second Blade Runner, I was like, I think this is fucking it. And then when the ref counted the 3, I was like, that's it. And I fucking woke up like I was watching. And I was like, my eyes just widened 1,000 times. Like I could not believe that they had Jay White, who's been back. What December, November, December was around then when they re-debuted him as Switchblade. And you could tell the way they build up the promos and when he came in and he versed Tanahashi, they want him to be a big deal. He just beat Kenny Omega, who's arguably the greatest wrestler in the world right now. He's arguably, I'd say, one of the most talked about wrestlers. I wouldn't say popular because he would if you take out WWE, he's the most popular. But with WWE, if Omega went to WWE right now, he would already get 10 times the exposure than he does in Japan. It's the same way AJ said, like, oh, all of a sudden I was in WWE one night and then all these people followed me and said, like, on Twitter and said, like, oh, I've been a fan of you for years, blah, blah, blah. WWE puts a scope on you like no other. So as far as wrestling ability, he's, I think, right now untouchable. Popularity, you could make a case for the top 10, but I think WWE guys are still in there just because of the exposure. But I would still put him in the top 10 because he's been making lots of headlines this year with the match ratings and Jericho and whatnot. So for Jay White to beat him in, what is this, like his 4th or 5th like New Japan match, that's huge. That's a star-making moment. It is all up to Jay White to carry it. It is all up to, especially this US title is still very fresh. It's new. He's the second person to have it. It's still creating legacy. This is his time to really shine. Wrestle Kingdom, he didn't get a chance, and that's because Tanahashi, he was not fully there. Like, as far, because he has his knee injury, so you could tell he could not go 100%. It was a good match, but I think it was my least favorite of the night, next to that, I think the tag team turmoil or whatever. It was just a fine match. It was not a bad match. It was good, but it didn't give him the showcase I think they wanted. This gave him a showcase as far as the spotlight's on him now. And even if this was not Omega's best match, it might be Jay White's best match there. Like I said, I really got to watch it again because what I enjoyed about it the most was Omega. Yes, he did lose to White, but it felt like he lost because he was not fully invested in the match. There was times where he's just pushing Jay White and he's like patting him on the shoulder. He felt like he underestimated him 100%. So it's this idea of, to me, the next time they verse, Kenny Omega could easily beat him because this time he knows, okay, Jay White is not a joke. He's good because Jay White, throughout the match, like at one point he just pushed him really hard. Like he was trying to fight to show like, hey, no, I'm not just this pushover. I'm not this guy who's like a hot young thing who's going to come in and lose. I'm here to stay. And he proved it. He countered the one-way angel, took him down and beat him clean. So I really love, between that and the Suzuki and Tanahashi match, which we'll talk about a bit, that's what I love about New Japan is just the detail and those little story aspects are great. And they can do stories that have been told before, but they do in a new spin and do something new, entirely new with it and just knock it out of the park. The veteran underestimating the rookie is not new, but the way they did it and the character work they did it was phenomenal. So Jay White, I'm very interested to see because I do like him. I think same thing with promo too. I think promo's got to work on because the promos that he was talking about, oh, I'm gonna, all of it's gonna crumble below Omega, whatever he was doing in the interview, he just needs a bit more conviction. I want to be a bit more intimidated or frightened by him, and I don't know if I have to be frightened, but the way he comes out, his entrance music's kind of creepy. His entrance is creepy overall. He has like a creepy bad guy look. I want to feel a bit more menace other than, okay, he's just saying some cool quotes, So Jay White, looking very forward to it. Like I said, I have to watch that match again because I didn't get a chance to today. So that happened. And then you had Hangman Page come down, and in a Japanese tradition that I learned that if a person defends a title or they win it, if you come down right away after that, you could challenge them for the title and you're next in line. Hangman Page is there to do that. And then Omega, so Hangman Page takes the title from Jay White. He's about to make that challenge. Omega takes it, and you're like, oh, is it because Omega wants that shot first? Hangman Page is getting in the way, and then he just hands it back to Jay White, and he's like, this is his moment. Like, let him have it, something like that. And then you can see Hangman Page is not happy. They get in the pushing brawl. The Bullet Club comes down. Marty's kind of in the middle. Cody's on Hangman Page's side. They're pushing each other. Cody and Kenny are pushing each other. The Young Buck, Matt Jackson comes down. Yeah, Matt Jackson comes down because he was hurt earlier. He's trying to help them all out. It's Kenny's best friend. He pushes him down. He has that back injury. They couldn't believe it. He did in a fit of rage, and you could tell he was sorry. And then Marty says, you guys got to figure it out. And Hangman Page leaves and all that. And then Cody has this great moment where he stops Kenny and he's talking to him in the ring like, you lost. It's awful. It sucks. I get it. You lost, but you got to deal with it. That was Hangman Page's moment. You took it over. You shouldn't have done that. That was not right. Like, you lost. Let's get over it. Let's move on. And it felt like, okay, this is going to be another time where they're still building towards it. But this was, we're getting closer, but still, okay, we took a detour. We didn't get to that path yet. We're gonna wait a little longer till they turn on each other. He sits on the rope to let him out. That's when I knew. I'm like, oh man, he's not going to let him get out of the ring. Hits him with the crossroads. Hangman Page comes back. He holds him up. Cody's going to hit him with a chair. And then Kota Ibushi runs down. I was hoping for it. And then when the crowd was cheering, I was like, oh my God. He ran down. He clears the ring. Marty at that moment, too, was telling him not to do it. Clears the ring. They have this great moment where Kota has his hand up to help him up. Kenny won't take it. Like, this is his former best friend. Kenny won't take it. He uses the ropes to help himself up, and he's not shaking the hand, and Kota starts to walk away. Then Kota comes back. He pushes him, and then they hug. And then this is only in Japanese wrestling, I think, because it's just sometimes there's some cheese factor to it, but it's so fucking good. It's professional wrestling. They hug, and fucking fireworks go off, streamers go off, and it was so good. Like, they couldn't have played it any better, because even in that moment when he has his hand out, you can hear all like the young Japanese girls be like, Kenny, like they want him to take the Golden Star's hand, like they want him to, and he does it, and it was phenomenal. And you think about, like, if you watched it, that's great, but if you didn't, all that stuff I said, there's so many routes, there's so many possibilities what they're gonna do, because I don't know. So you have Kenny and Kota. Are they going to be just a fully tag team now? Are you going to have them versus the Young Bucks? Are you going to have some sort of infighting? Because I thought for a while they were going to do the Elite versus Cody's Bullet Club, or in a sense, because Hangman and Marty are much closer with Cody, and then the Bucks are closer with Omega. So I thought, oh, especially for their All-In show, maybe they're going to do a six-man tag, like 3 versus 3. But then Young Bucks seemed kind of mad at Kenny, and they left him. But then Marty is also still playing Peacemaker and telling them not to do it. It's very interesting what's going to happen. I don't know is this a clean break already? Omega's just automatically out of the Bullet Club? Are they going to try to repair things? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how this plays in with the All-In show, if you don't know what that is they are trying to do a show by themselves, the Bullet Club, about to do a 10,000 arena to try and sell it out, because Dave Meltzer made a bet or said some comment where, they couldn't do that because they're not big enough stars. Not so meanly, I guess, but he said that, and Cody said, I'm going to prove you wrong. So they're going to, this year, try and prove them wrong and sell a 10,000 arena seat with just them, not having to be a WWE show. So I don't know if that plays in this at all. I don't think so, because New Japan would be still booking their show, right? So I found it weird as far as timing. You'd think you'd want them all to be together, but maybe them exploding and versing each other is a good thing. I'm looking very, very forward to Kenny versus Cody whenever that happens, because Cody is getting better and better. Cody has always been good in the ring, but his character work has been outstanding. And his ring work is getting even better. His match against Okada and Kota, fantastic. I don't think he got enough love, the Wrestle Kingdom match he got against Okada. Even though Okada won, like, he's delivering right now. He is showing, like, I think he was always a solid to really good wrestler, and then character work was better. I think the character work's always going to be better, because Cody, I think, really specialized in that, but his ring work is getting really damn good. So with him and Kenny, and they're going to have, like, this hateful rivalry going to it. It's going to be great. I think for the Bullet Club, is a smart move, as I take a sip of water. I think it's a smart move because Kenny is becoming more face-like, more of a baby face. People are cheering for him. After that Jericho match, it almost felt like Kenny was going to be... It was going to be kind of a nobody versus nobody match, or Kenny is kind of the heel and Jericho is the babyface star. I don't know. It didn't feel like they were going to go that route of Kenny being such a good guy against Jericho, and they really played that up. And you feel that momentum coming with the fans going with them. So I think Cody, as the leader of the Bullet Club, which is supposed to be a villainous organization, makes sense. You don't want to make it too cool. You don't want NWO where everyone loves it. So, especially in Japan, they've even though there's lots of heels and baby faces that are on the spectrum of switching, they, for the most part, feel like they really support baby faces. So I think that was a good move. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen next. Lots of people, I don't know why they saw this and this means he's leaving New Japan next year, and I guess so much for that World Heavyweight title run. We're a year. He just signed a new contract. We're literally a year away. So much could happen in between, including him winning the heavyweight title. I don't think this, I guess people are looking at it because it's a send-off from Bullet Club, but I think this is them doing something new and fresh, because look at Adam Cole, look at AJ Styles, look at Finn. Anytime they kick someone out of the Bullet Club, they don't get to have that feud because they're usually going to WWE, right? So they kick them out as a way to write them off. This, you have something to play with. You have the former leader of the Bullet Club who was kicked out to go against his former friends with his past best friend. So much drama going on. You couldn't do that if he just left. So I think there's a chance. I think there's a chance he even becomes a heavyweight champion again. I really hope he gets that, because I know that's a goal he wants. And he deserves it. He's the best. I'm kind of hoping that maybe they're going to turn Okada heel, and with Kenny Omega's a babyface, they can do that, and that'll be a cherry on top where he could win at the next Wrestle Kingdom, and then re-sign a contract, and then keep going as champ, because I don't know how it works in New Japan. I'm completely new to it. I admit that. There's lots of guys I still don't even know their fucking names. So I'm 100% mainstream, trying to become a hardcore fan of New Japan. All I can go off in some past stuff is you look at Naito, and his story is, okay, so he was being groomed to be one of the best, new top baby faces in New Japan. Fans turned against him. When he went away and came back, he was a full-blown heel. Obviously, I don't think Okada's going anywhere, but at Wrestle Kingdom, you could definitely feel the fans were behind Naito. And then even now he's going against Sonata, and at these events, Sonata was getting a lot of cheers. And for a guy that I didn't think was that big of a star, he's getting cheers over Okada, who's supposed to be their main guy. It's nowhere near as bad, but at times it's felt a little Roman Reigns-ish, where it's are people tired of him being pushed? And even stuff I get him putting like I said, baby faces and heels, they kind of are a bit more looser over there. But him as a good guy, and he feels like pretty much a good guy, him as a good guy taking his Okada bucks, the money with his face on them, and shoving them in this guy's mouth and humiliating him after a match. And it wasn't even Sonata was being really evil in that match. Evil. It's not like he was being really heel. He just kind of cornered him, and he just shoved this money in his mouth and embarrassed him. And it felt really heely, more so than okay, it's just a good guy kind of going above the across the line, but he'll come back. It just felt really petty, and that's why I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a switch of Okada. He's become the longest reigning champ, and that's kind of got to his head. And then Omega's a hot young babyface. I think there's a chance it could happen. But I'm very excited to see what's going to happen with the Bullet Club, all that. It's very exciting times. I just left that show wanting more, wanting to know what's going to happen next. The last shows we had Omega and Kota going to a locker room together, waving the cameras away. I'm very excited. I hope they are a tag team for a while. I don't know what they're going to do, but it's very exciting. The other thing I was very excited about, Suzuki. New Intercontinental Champion. Fuck yes. I think is Suzuki. I don't know. I have to watch. Him and Naito are tied, I think. I love Suzuki. He is just this sadistic, snarling son of a bitch who loves it, and he loves hurting people. He's violent. He's vicious, but he has this weird grin and sense of humor to him. Obviously he has that laugh, but he's just in his press conference when he had his beer and he was shaking around the reporters, he's just this bully, but the bully who becomes a serial killer. And it's great. I'm very happy he beat Tanahashi, because Tanahashi needs to go and recover. Obviously, he does have legit injury. I've seen matches of him in the past, so I can tell the difference of a guy that I think you could too, who is 100% and not. But this match, I think, maybe was my favorite of the weekend, and that's why maybe I'm a little more down on Almost versus Gargano, because I loved that match too. I'll say I really enjoyed it, but this one I loved because it's just, okay, so you have Tanahashi, who is this legend. He is this guy who's their ace, their number one star for a while, and he's still in top 3. And you have Suzuki, who recently just had his head shaven because he lost a match, and he lost his title as well. So he's a lot to prove. He is in a foul mood. And this match is just based on the simple thing of Suzuki, yeah, he wants the title. He wants to beat Tanahashi, but he wants to end his career. And there's so many times in matches where people go, oh, I want to end your career. Even Jericho, when he says that to Omega, he's like, it's the last time you see him in New Japan. It did have that feel, but I guess because that was more back and forth, it kind of lost that at times. This felt like Suzuki was trying to end his career. I loved, and it was very like a slow, methodical at times, but I loved it. He kept working on the knee, working on the Achilles tendon, working on the ankle, anything to do with that injury, the real one, and playing into the storyline. It was phenomenal. He kept heel hooking him, and he kept ragging on his leg. And anytime Tanahashi was making a comeback, he couldn't. And when I really really enjoyed it, and what put it over the top, it might be my favorite match of the weekend, is when he hits him with the Gotch pile driver, his finisher maneuver. He hit, and this was after he had the hold on for quite a while. He tried it previously. He couldn't get the pile driver. He did it this time. I think no one's kicked out of it. I'm not sure, but he hits it. I think that's what someone said. He hits it, doesn't go for the pin, goes back to the leg, and he will not pin him. He could have beat him. He could have had him for the 3 count. He could have got the title right there. But no, he wants Tanahashi to quit. He wants him to give up. He wants to torture him until he makes Tanahashi tap out or say the words "I quit," anything like that. He wants to just dominate him. And Tanahashi, this champion who is in these holes, who is fighting through thick and thin, who you can tell is in so much pain, he's selling it so well, will not quit. And then the ref fucking stops the match perfect, because I was like, what are they going to do? Is Tanahashi going to tap out? Because that's hard for a babyface to come back from. But what are they going to do? The ref stops it. They stretcher him out. So it shows like it's perfect because, yes, in Suzuki's mind, he can say he destroyed him, but he didn't break him. So that sets up for the rematch perfectly of Tanahashi will heal. He'll want to come back and get revenge for him taking his title and taking his leg almost off. And Suzuki will have this motivation of, hey, I'm going to end what I start. I almost said I'm going to start what I stopped. I'm going to stop what I started. Like, I'm going to finish what I started, as Kyle Ram would say. I want you fully gone. And I think because he'll take the win, and he was really cocky about it, and he felt like happy about it. But I think that could play into it of, hey, Tanahashi still didn't quit. The ref had to stop it. So yeah, as a man, you beat him down enough where another man had to say that's enough. But he still never quit. And I'm super excited. I hope Tanahashi's gone for a while and really heals up, so when he comes back, he's 100%. Because I'm so excited for the rematch. I'm very, very excited for Suzuki as Intercontinental Champion. He is just much like Asuka. He knows his character. He does it well. He stays in it. He never strays. He never does something for jokes. And there's comedic stuff about him, but it's never anything he does. It feels like Suzuki. It feels like that's what he would do. I hate when characters are, act a certain way, and then something happens, like, why would he do this? Like, or why would she do this? Like, this feels very random. Yeah, I'm so looking forward to Intercontinental title run. I'm very excited for him because it was his first one. He is just phenomenal. He has the best theme song maybe in wrestling today, but I love watching his style. It's very slow. It's very methodical, like I said, but he just feels like a torture. He just feels like, and he feels like a guy if you met in a back alley, you would not want to mess with. Like, he's gonna fuck you up. So, phenomenal match. I loved it. Like I said, I'm gonna watch. I am watching the Omega White match again. I'm gonna watch the Gargano Almost match again soon. I know White and Omega. Gargano. I want to watch soon. I might put it off for more near the end of the year. Sorry, because year-end awards. Because I really enjoyed it, and that's where I can transfer to NXT. NXT's always putting on a solid show, start to finish. Velveteen Dream was great. Cole and Aleister Black had a great bout, and also I'm very excited for the day that system is very similar to the one in WWE. Like, whether that's Triple H fully running it and he runs WWE, I want to see what he can do on the big stage because he is limited. He has these toys, and eventually they have to be shipped off. I want to see when he has those toys for 5 to 10 years and what he can do. Gargano and Almost, I really, really enjoyed. Like I said, I think it's the best WWE match of the year. I think for me, it's just I don't find it lots of people are calling it like a 5-star match, and I don't see it that way for me. It was maybe missing a little bit from something for me. I felt it started. It's weird to say it started slow because I just praised the other match for that, but it started in a way where I wasn't that interested in it. I was still enjoying myself, but it didn't hook me right away. It took a little bit. And for me, I think it's a Gargano thing. I like Gargano a lot as far as his ring skill. I'm not a fan of his mic and his character because for me, people are comparing him to Daniel Bryan, and even WWE is like, oh, the Daniel Bryan story. It's feeling really forced, and it's feeling like, hey, Daniel Bryan's going to leave, so we need his replacement. For me personally, and other people say this about Bryan, I don't attach to Gargano as much as I did with Bryan or some other underdogs. I don't look at him and be like, man, I really want him to succeed. Now, here's the thing. NXT I fell behind on. I did not choose not to watch NXT. I just didn't have time. NXT I still very much enjoy, so I have missed out some of that stuff. But usually the promos do a good job before of telling you the story, and I even felt that way before. So for me, them trying to make him next to Daniel Bryan, it feels a little forced. Great talent. He did really good. The other thing that one's a minor thing. I hate he does this in so many big matches. He'll get hit and he'll do the like he'll be staring off into nowhere. Do that every once in a while. Do that with big moments in a match. Do that in a weapons match. But even in this match, he did it like 3 times, and it loses its effect for me big time. Because, okay, if you want to do it, fine, but do it on one time for me to really sell it move. Because he did it. I was like, okay, this is the time where he's really hurt, and then he recovers, and then it happens again. And he does that like glazed look where he looks like he is like concussed, like kind of like what Ciampa when he attacked him. And for me, it's like, like it takes me out of it because it just feels like over the top selling of, okay, this can't be happening every time because if you keep looking concussed, then you're gonna be concussed, and you should be not kicking out of this. So that's a little thing. The other thing is maybe for me, and that's where NXT where I stopped watching, is because I feel like lots of them have a limit. You don't know which ones are gonna have that limit, but Hideo Itami, one of the best wrestlers maybe in the world, I think he's dipped in quality as far as being in NXT, whether that's a lot of the injuries he's got, his age, or just the timing of it. Either way, he's on 205 Live. Gargano, Ciampa, probably going to be on 205 Live. So for me, it's kind of hard. Same thing as Velveteen Dream. I love Velveteen Dream. I love watching him. But is he just going to have like Tyler Breeze? Is he going to end up like in a comedy sketch? Like, and good for him. Like Tyler Breeze getting some good, because he brags about fans about this all the time. But for me, I wanted more from Tyler Breeze. I want more from Velveteen Dream. Is Dream just going to become, a guy who gets thrown in the Rumble in a minute and he's just used for comedic sketches? Could very well be. And Gargano, I think, is just going to be on 205 Live. And that's why, for me, it's hard for me to get excited for Gargano, other than the matches are good or great. And like I said, I would easily agree with he has the best WWE match of the year right now. It's only January, but it's definitely the best one. It's only been one pay-per-view, and I'm not watching Raw, so it's not much for me. But I could easily say, and that could be what the standard is for the rest of the year. I think Nakamura and AJ will knock it out of the park, but I can see that. But I'm not too invested yet because I just feel like, oh, he's going to go 205 Live, and then nothing's going to happen because look at Neville. Neville was capped. I thought he was having this great run as Cruiserweight champion, and then when that was over, it's like, okay, we're going to move him to the main roster like NXT of like, hey, you've shown that you can go on the, you're the big fish in the small pond. Let's put you in the bigger pond. No, we're just going to keep you in the small pond because you're small. So, me wishing the Cruiserweight title came back, oh, what a regret. I didn't want to come back like this. I hate what they've done with 205 Live as far as like so exclusive, and they can't be in the Rumbles, and they can't do very annoying. So I think that could happen with Gargano. For me, like I said, Almost and Vega deserve a lot of praise. Not a lot more praise. I think just equal praise. I guess it's because it was a showcase for Gargano, so I get that. But Almost to me really turned me around. I think it's ever since him turning heel is good, but ever since he got Vega, those two together are just like this great dastardly duo. They play off each other so well. I love that she's this in-your-face manager, beating on guys, like doing moves on guys. I hate managers for a while. They had this string of managers for a while that would just, you're a manager, you walk down, you say a couple things, but that's it. Like the way Paul is great, but managers sometimes would maybe just like, oh, hit on a man, like come on, let's go. But seeing them integrate into the match and be integral parts of whether it is for the storyline, oh, Gargano's wife came and attacked her, oh, doing the Hurricane Run on him, or just distracting the ref. Lots of managers wouldn't do that. It's like, oh yeah, that's the manager, and we just say that because that's the gimmick. Like we want to make him look like he's important, so he has somebody. And every once in a while they do something, but it's very much like I like Cody and Brandy in New Japan when they did Wrestle Kingdom. Like the way they play the ref and the way they play with Kota, perfect. Like you've got to use managers like that well, and they are just a great duo. I hope they come to the main roster after Mania. They are. I'm very excited to see what they can do. So the rest, not much to talk about as far as, and I guess when I titled this podcast, I said who won this weekend. This is where I could lose some fans, and that's fine with me. Because in my very first episode, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say they fucking tied. They really did, because they both had great matches for me. The Gargano Almost match, the Suzuki and Tanahashi, and then you got Jay White and Kenny Omega. Then over there you got Adam Cole and Aleister Black. Those really delivered. And even too with tag, I didn't talk about him. Young Bucks versus Roppongi 3K was great. I didn't like him doing the Nick. I think it's. I always get them mixed up again. Matt Jackson doing the back injury again, but the fact that it led to them losing this time, that made me like it. Because it would have been like, oh, his back is injured again, but they still won. It's like, okay, this injury is not that serious. But his back literally gave out, and he couldn't do anything, and that made them lose the match. Usos and Chad Gable. Usos and Chad Gable. The Usos versus Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin was fantastic. Usos are on such a hot streak. They're just the definition of fucking cool right now. They need to be on the WrestleMania card this year. Even if it's a fucking 4-way for the titles, if it's a ladder match, Gazans or whatever, they need to be on the main card. They cannot be on the pre-show. They've been on the pre-show like 2 or 3 times now. They deserve it after all their hard work, and they are hot as balls right now. And you want an entire crowd on WrestleMania saying, Uso Penitentiary better than I did. So, like I said, both as far as the matches delivered. Moments delivered. You had Suzuki destroying Tanahashi, and then the whole Bullet Club breakup. You had the Rousey, the Asuka, the champions there. You had Nakamura winning, which was, it felt like an emotional moment. I didn't fully tear up, but I could have, just because it was just great seeing this guy who I wasn't sure was going to become a big star in WWE get this huge rub by eliminating these 2 guys. And for me, the company showing, hey, we support this guy. Like AJ a few years ago, it was, hey, he's coming in, they like him right now, but is he going to sustain? Clearly, he's a guy that the company likes. And you can see that he's always on marketing. For Raw 25, he was there for like the fucking bell ringing. You know, like they like AJ Styles. And I hope it's the same way where they look at Nakamura. Like, we like Nakamura. We want him to be one of our tentpoles going forward. So with a win like that, that's what makes sense. Like made me feel like that's how they felt. And the reason it's a tie is because those 2 things were great. And the undercards for them were, for me, about the same. I'm not a big fan of New Japan undercards. I can say that right now. I do watch most of them because I'm trying to get... Now I'm starting to watch less because I know the people, I know names, I know their characters. But for a while I was watching them, but I don't like the, okay, 10-man tag, 6-man tag, 6-man tag. Like, they do a lot of tags and a lot of random tags, and it's a lot of just like Chaos versus Los Ingobernables or Chaos versus Bullet Club. It's just like very much the same thing, when I feel like, you know, when you have 2 factions like that, and that's where the WWE comes in from me. When you have 2 factions like that, that should be a big deal. But in New Japan, it's not. It's just 2 factions always competing against one another. So that's fine. But if there's not someone I really enjoy, like a Naito or Suzuki, I'm going to skip. Speaking of Naito, I feel like he's really floundering right now. I think they're just kind of waiting till he can get to the Jericho match, which they're clearly going to do. And I almost wonder if they're going to make Jericho have a match against Okada, because they've been saying like, oh, Okada needs, I think, 2 or 3 more title defenses, and he's defended the most out of anybody. And wouldn't that be a big defense if he could defend the last one against Jericho? So I think that's a chance. But Naito, for me, is kind of floundering, so I hope that picks up. But yeah, the undercard in New Japan, never been a big fan of, unless I like the people like Elite, like in a 6-man tag, or the people I listed. I will sometimes skip over if I watch on replay, and other times if I don't care, I'm working out or I'm doing something. I'm still watching the matches, but I'm not as invested in them, because literally they do sometimes, if it's a 2-nighter, they'll do the same they'll do a match and they'll do the exact same match as a rematch, and for me, not that exciting. Undercard for Rumble, the Raw tag time match was fine. What they're doing, Jordan Rollins, I don't know. I want Rollins to get a big match at Mania, and I don't think a match against Jason Jordan is it, so I don't know if I like where that's going. The handicap match for the WWE title was lots of fun, and they did it quite well. I like that Owens lost on a roll-up, because I don't like when 2 guys lose, so I like the way they did it, not AJ just beat them. He kind of got a lucky win out. That's the other thing I didn't talk about in the Rumble. I don't know where they're going with Owens Insane. I kind of hope they just make Usos faces and make them a tag team. They go for the tag team titles at WrestleMania, because they felt like they're already hinting at them breaking up by Sane taking that spot in the Rumble, and then Owens looked like really pissed off. We just literally had a match last year where Owens was pissed off at one of his best friends. They broke up and they fought. Let's not do that again. And now it would feel really weird. Like, who would you cheer for? Like, maybe Owens becomes face because Sammy's so annoying, but that's kind of weird, and you can't do the good guy Sammy versus bad guy Owens. You missed the boat like 2 years ago. So I'm really concerned about that, because I'm a big Kevin Owens fan. The Raw triple threat match was. It's funny because I said either this match is gonna be boring and it's gonna be a lot of big guys trying to like just outpower each other, or it's gonna be fun like car wreck. It was the car wreck like I predicted, but for me it wasn't that fun. And I think the reason was it was a good time. You saw some tails get broken. You saw some big spots. I think for me, and I already touched on it a bit. It's just that this is so predictable now with the whole way we're going with Brock, and I didn't feel an urge of unexpectancy. Like I didn't at every turn. It just felt like okay, we're just leading to Brock F5 and Kane, and he's gonna pin him, and so be it. Like, and then we're moving on to WrestleMania. I think that is hurting these matches because yeah, sometimes matches are predictable, and that's not always a bad thing. But when it's so overly predictable, it can really grind your gears. It can really take you out of it and not feel interested. And that's honestly the match that I was not tuned into the most. There's times I was checking my phone, I'm watching it because I was like, oh, I might podcast about this, so I'll make note and keep watching it. But I had to remind myself, like, no, watch this match. But yeah, it was the action was fine. We'd seen it before. The Braun Brock thing, we're over that. Even when Brock won the match, Braun, I think he said like, come here, you can't beat me. Months ago, we saw him beat you pretty easily. So there's no fire there. This Brock Lesnar thing is really slow, and I really hope he doesn't resign. I think the rumors are he is resigning after WrestleMania. It's getting really boring, and the act's getting really tired, and I'm sick and tired of it. And that's why I think this match had no urgency. That's what I was saying when I said the word urge. It has no urgency, and I think with Brock being champion, that's kind of gone. Like that shtick of Suplex City being this must-watch event, I don't think that's there anymore. I think it was at one point, but I think that's why this was probably the most skippable match on the main card. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to Roman beating him, and then we can finally get past this fucking, oh, we're building up to Roman beating Brock. Let's just move along. Whether he resigns or doesn't, like, let's just get this out of the way. We know you guys want to do it. So, yeah. So, as far as who won, it's a draw. You know why? That's fine, because it can be a draw, because it was a great weekend of pro wrestling. New beginning day one. NXT, New Beginning Part 2, Royal Rumble, all delivered on multiple fronts. Great matches, great character work, great moments, great surprises. It's what you want. That's what makes you a wrestling fan. Yeah, sometimes it sucks, but man, when it's good, it's fucking great. Like, that was this weekend, and this got me very excited. It got me excited for New Japan. The rest of New Beginning coming up, it got me excited. I'm going to watch Raw tomorrow. I'm going to watch SmackDown. You know, like, this is a good time to be a wrestling fan. I'm very excited for the road to WrestleMania. I'm very excited to see what New Japan's going to be doing. So yeah, the next time you hear from me, I'm not exactly sure when, because I'm going to kind of base it on, other stuff. Maybe some new stuff like this Bobby Lashley stuff. Ugh. Re-signing Bobby Lashley would have been big like a few years ago. And then the rumors are he's going to have a match with Brock. Why do we care? Why? Because they both are MMA guys? Cool. So I thank you very much for tuning in. Please let me know your thoughts on the podcast. Let me know your thoughts on the actual events. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. If you agree or disagree with me on some things, please check out Geek vs. Gauntlet Season 2. That is coming back next Saturday. We have myself with a mystery partner, with Tyler with a mystery partner. We have not picked our partners yet. We're playing Smash Bros. Wii U. It's very much like WWE. It's gaming with storylines. There's a lot going in. The Wolf Order is coming. That's my group. I'm very, very excited to debut that. I want to spoil some stuff, but you know what? I can't, because you're going to want to watch. It is going to be a great time. So I thank you very much for tuning in to this first episode of It's Still Real to Me, Damn It. The name is still fresh because it just happened. And you know what? I looked up. There's a guy that had that name for a podcast in 2006. I'm taking it. If he wants to come back, if somebody else has the name, maybe I'll change it, because it's a popular catchphrase. So I don't know. We're going to find out. But whenever you find out, it won't be boring.